So we just finished the last presentation in the 2011 Passivhaus conference, where we had guests and participants from all around the globe. Every continent was here, people coming from China, from Alaska, from Australia. We have seen lots of presentation on realized Passivhaus projects, not only in Europe but also in the United States of America. We have seen the progress which is there in the European projects, lots of new realized passive houses in different applications. I was especially impressed by some examples from the UK, where we have seen really architectural good retrofits of existing buildings, even existing row houses, which are listed houses in the UK, which have been refurbished to be passive houses. So this is a real good work which has been done there, and I am glad to see in the future some of the results of the measurements which are taken in these buildings to enrich the experience about passive houses, which is in the more moderate British climate.
Last year was my first Passive House conference. It was in Dresden, and it was a very valuable conference to me in terms of strengthening connections that I have in the Passive House family, as it were, already, and moving forward and getting to see the results of a lot of the research that the Passive House Institute do, and it's a rare opportunity to see a lot of their findings through English, through translation within the lecture series. And I think this year has been fantastic. There's been a great range and dialogue of lectures, and I think the tone has slightly changed a bit, that it's about how we get there and about almost maybe customising the approach now to suit different climates, to suit the extreme kind of uses that we put on buildings.
The first passive house which was certified was built in 2007-2008. So since then it has been a kind of a break, and for a year then in 2009 there were about another 3-4 houses built. In 2010 it's maybe 10 houses, and this year I guess we will be at about 15 to 20 houses all over Slovakia. So it's still very modest. It's by far not what we would like it to be, but it's definitely going in the right direction.
You know, the passive house principle seems to be, for most of Japanese people, it's completely different than the traditional Japanese architecture, and people have kind of misunderstanding that which doesn't work with our climate, which is very humid, and it's very cold in winter, but it's very, very hot and humid in summer.
2 years ago we decided that we will do only passive houses, and since then we have more work. Everybody said that, okay, this will be a big problem, you will not have customers, but the effect is in fact different. And maybe the nicest thing about the whole thing, you get very good and nice customers. They all want the same, and it's the communication with them is very good.
Introducing passive house is not about copying the detail or the thickness of the wall to their own countries, but kind of transferring the essence and philosophy into their own, architecture culture.
The context and the tone and the attitude of people that have come along, that has evolved into something a lot more specialised, specific, and we can see it taking off across various other streams of the construction world. And in terms of architecture and the quality of design that has come back now this year, that it's evolving into different contexts, into different architectural styles, which I would be really passionate about promoting, that Passive House isn't this stereotypical building design from Germany or from Central Europe, that you can adapt it and it can be a beautiful space. You don't even have to realise you're living in a house with such kind of integrity or specific concepts, but that you appreciate the beauty of the space more, and people are getting more comfortable. Architects, designers, engineers are getting a lot more comfortable with the concept and how they're communicating it through to clients, to the end user, and that's, I think, something really important.
Difficulty of building, I think, depends on the project. If you have a well-done project, the difficulty is fairly low. So, in fact, we have different companies starting to build their first passive house for a client, because you usually use a local company, and they are very well motivated doing this house because it's also for them a kind of a lighthouse building, so it can really show off. That's what they're going to show to their clients later on. So they put in 200% of effort. So in fact, even if maybe the first house is more difficult, because they put in more effort, and if the planning is right, in fact, I think building a passive house is very simple. There is absolutely nothing complicated about it. And most of the companies doing it, after the first or second time they do it, they say the same.
Japanese traditional timber house, which has actually the basic idea of passive house already. We had a very big south-facing window and very large overhang to protect, to reduce solar gain in summer. And we had a very open plan for the natural ventilation during the summer. And we had, the clay wall with the bamboos, we had a traditional earth render, which is actually great for the summer mass. So these elements is actually very important for the passive house design, but which is completely missing is insulation and airtightness. And these two aspects need to be added to this Japanese traditional timber house.
Now we can concentrate more on the design of the house. Before it was more talking about the technical solutions and technical details. Now it's more about just making good architecture.
Yeah, so after the earthquake, of course, there are more interest from the people. They want to have more information for, how to be independent from the, nuclear power.
Well, you need to inform the people so that they know what reality is about. And I think the Passive House Days in November, that's the best forum where you can do this, because they meet with the clients who already live in a house like this, and that is very strong for somebody who is not convinced about the Passive House standard. I think that's where he should go.